This class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we will learn Parshat Metzora. The Parsha will be, we started to talk about it last week, and we talked about the story of Tzoras. What is Tzoras? The word Tzores comes from the word Tzoras.
Oy vey.
Then Tzoras was a leprosy, was a biblical punishment for anything that God did not like people to do. Doesn't make a difference what it was. Not like everybody thinks only for Lashon Hara. You're right, it's written in the Bible clearly more when Miriam spoke about Moses. Even it wasn't just a pure Lashon Hara, still she spoke about Moses. But as we spoke last week, we mentioned the story of Naaman, the leader of the army, the head of the army of Aram. Aram was the strongest army in the Middle East, in Damascus, in Syria. And he attacked the Jewish people. And he took, as a prisoner of war, one goal, Jewish goal. And for this, God punished him with Tzoras. He got leprosy. This goal told him, go to Israel, there is a prophet. He will go and he will cure you. He went to the prophet. The prophet cured him. And then he offered the prophet money. And the prophet told him, no, I don't want to take money. It's a miracle from God. And he left. But then what happened? The prophet's secretary, Gabbai, Gehazi, ran after Naaman, and he told them, my Rebbe changed his mind. The prophet changed his mind. And he took from him money, the gifts and everything, whatever he had done. He came back. Elisha told them, Elisha, he didn't need information. Elisha was a prophet. He told them, you took the money, right? Even it was an embarrassment to God. The prophet says, no, then the prophet changed his mind. He told them, the leprosy of Naaman should move to you. And he and his 3 sons became leper. There is another story we mentioned last week about Cain. Cain killed Abel. God tells Cain, anybody who will kill you, I'll kill him, I'll punish him. Nobody should touch you. Why is God protecting Cain so much? Cain killed Abel, he should be killed. Why is he protected? Then the Medrash says something amazing. Cain told God, I beat up my brother, but I never saw people die. I told him, Abel, get up! What are you pretending here? He didn't want to get up. Cain never knew what means killing, that we cannot punish him for killing. Therefore, anybody who will kill Cain will be punished. That God made a sign on Cain's forehead that nobody should kill him. That the Medrash says, what's the sign? The sign is leprosy, Tzoras. Then it was basically a sign to say that he didn't do something good. And the other hand, to protect them from the old Tzoras was something on outside to bring out your bad behavior. You know, inside nobody knows what's going on. When it's outside, then people know it's bringing it out. Then there is a story about another king, Uzziah. Uzziah was a king in the time of the first temple. That to be a king for him was not enough. He decided he needs more than being a king. What he needs more than being a king, he wants to be a high priest. He went to the temple, and he was about to enter the temple. The high priest told him, enough that you have your kingdom. The job in the temple is for the sons, for the descendants of Aaron, the high priest. It's not your place. He had a pen in his hand. He picked it up, the pen, he wanted to hit the Kohen. I think the high priest who wanted to stop him. That moment, the Tzoras, the leprosy, showed up on his forehead. and he was taken away from there to quarantine. That was the end of his kingdom either. Too. Not only he wasn't high priest, he wasn't a king either. Gurnished. That means to say that Tzoraz was for everything. But everything from God has a purpose. It's for the sake of good. God is the ultimate good. Not just good, the ultimate good. There is two levels. There is one level to believe that God, whatever happens to in my life is from God. That's one thing. That's believing in God. Then there is trusting God. What's the difference? You know, I remember once the Rebbe gave somebody, the Rebbe used to give out dollars for charity. Once a big rabbi from Israel passed by, and the Rebbe gave him $1 and he told him, it's written on this, in God we trust. Then the guy moved on. The Rebbe called him back and told him, you know the difference between belief and trust is from one end to the other. What is to believe? To believe is, yeah, everything happened to me is from God. But that's not good. In God we trust means, I trust my wife with my children. That whatever will happen, she will do the best. Just as I will try to do the best. I trust her 100%. That's trust. That I trust that this person will do the best. Trust in God means that whatever happens is the best. So not every time we understand it, but that's what trust in God is. Then let's try to understand what's the whole business of leprosy. But first we'll look what type of leprosy we have in these two parshas. This parsha is Metzora. Last week we learned Parshas Tazria. Then we'll just look at the titles to understand we had three types of leprosy. In the beginning of Parshas Tazria, I would say from page 91, the law starts the laws of Tzaras. There is about the skin Tzaras. Somebody who has it on his body. Spot, you lock him up, you unlock him up, the Kohen has to look of it. Why the Kohen? The Kohen had to be the one to pronounce if the person is pure or impure. Even if the Kohen was not a professional in the laws of Tzaras, and he had another rabbi who told them this is good and this is not, the Kohen had to be the one who actually says it. When the Kohen said that Tzaras, it became Tzaras. When the Kohen did not say Tzaras, it wasn't Tzaras. Why he needed a Kohen? Because the Kohen, in spirituality, Kohen is Isha Chesed. Kohen is kindness. To pronounce somebody impure, we need a very kind person to do it. Because we want somebody who will find any way, shape or form, maybe we can keep it pure. Maybe it's not so bad. And only when the Kohen says it, and also the Kohen alone by saying it, if the Kohen is a holy man, he might kind of elevate the person, cure the problem. Then this is the first Tzoras. Then, in the middle of last week's Parshah, we read about Tzoras of garment. On page 103, we read about Tzoras of garment. Let's read just a few lines just to get into the mood of this, and then we'll move on.
That's not.
Laws of Tzoras of garment.
If a garment has a saras lesion on it, be it woolen garment or a linen garment, or on threads prepared for the warp or woof
Just
of
move
linen
on.
or wool, or on leather or anything made from leather, if the lesion on the garment, the leather, the warp, or the woof threads, or the various types of leather articles is deep green or deep red, it is a lesion of saras, and it should be shown to the
Kohen.
priest.
Yeah.
The priest should examine the lesion and should quarantine the article with the lesion for 7 days.
How will you
On-
compare it?
On the 7th day, he should examine the lesion. If the lesion has spread on the garment, or on the warp, or the woof, or on the leather, for whatever purpose the leather had been made, the lesion is piercing Zaris, and is ritually impure. He must burn the garment, the warp or the woof, or the wool or linen, or the leather article which has the lesion upon it, for it is pure sincerus, and it should be burned in fire.
Okay, then what are you learning about tzoras of clothing? In the olden days, people did not have clothing, didn't change the clothing 3 times a day like today. For this event, we put on this. Then he's going walking out, he puts on this. Then he's going for a dinner, he puts this. Then he takes a shower between one time and the other. Okay, God bless them. You were wearing a suit for your wedding, and you wore it for your son's wedding. I mean, how much clothing people had in biblical time especially? Then tzoras on your clothing was a big deal. Then if it's a leprosy, you have to burn the clothing. If it's not leprosy, you keep it. Then again went through the whole process. He checked it, he locked it up, and he checked, and he cleaned, and it this. And if it was not good, it was burned. That's tzoras on clothing. This week's Parshah, on page 117, in Parshas Metzora, we read about tzoras on houses. Leprosy that showed up on walls, like a mold. Mm-hmm. There is mold on your skin, there is mold on your clothing, and there is mold on your walls.
Now, would it go from like body to clothing to the house, like worse, or just it could be the house, or it could be the body, or it could be.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Very good. Yes. The question is by people, what is worse? What's more important to you, your finger or your house? Some people will quicker give a finger for charity than the money, their own finger. Some people will donate a kidney before they'll donate $10,000. There is such people. Some people quicker give the money than the kidney. But the same thing is here. But let's first read a little bit about the tzoras of the houses. Want to read?
God spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, "When you come to the land of Canaan, which I am giving you as your possession, and I placed tsaras legions on houses in the land of the Amorites, which the children of Reuven and Gad will choose to possess, the owner of the house should inform the priest, saying, There appears to me to be something like a tsaras legion in my house.
Okay.
Upon the priest's
Go ahead.
Upon the priest's instructions, they should clear out the house before the priest comes to inspect the legion, so that every earthenware vessel in the house should not become irreversibly ritually impure if the priest pronounces the house ritually impure."
Now, what is happening? You come to the Kohen, you say, I just have something on my walls. He tells you, before I'm coming, clean up the house. Because the moment the Kohen comes and pronounce the house, that this is Torah, everything inside the house becomes impure. Then to save the Jew the trouble, the Torah says, you first clean up the whole house. Then the Kohen will come. It's interesting, in these laws there is, for example, if it's a guy who just got married, in the 7 days of his Sheva Brachos, of his celebration, after the wedding, the Kohen doesn't see his say, wait until the Sheva Brachos is over, then we'll look at this. We try also during the holidays, during Pesach, during Sukkot, you don't pronounce anybody impure during these times, because you don't want to disturb their holiday or their celebration. The same thing in the house. Now, Rashi points out from this, the vessels become impure. Most of the vessels we toivel in the mikveh, we immerse them in the water, and they become pure again. Which vessels cannot be pure again in the mikveh? Earthware, made out of clay. The cheapest vessels, really, at that time. Then the Torah points out, Rashi says, look how much God has mercy on Jewish money. And money in general, not to spend money. If there is a way to save the vessels from becoming pure, even it's very cheap vessels, and persons say, who cares? No such thing as who cares. If it's a vessel, if it's good, we have to purify it. Then if you can save it, do it. Then first you have to take everything out from the house, then the Kohen will come to the house. Go ahead.
Afterwards, the priest should come to inspect the house. He should inspect the lesion And if the lesion in the walls of the house consists of dark green or dark red sunken-looking stains, appearing as if they are deeper than the wall, then the priest should go outside the house to the entrance of the house, and he should quarantine the house for 7 days. The priest should return on the seventh day. If he sees that the lesion has spread in the walls of the house, then the priest should instruct that they remove the stones which the lesion is on, and they should cast them away outside the city to a ritually impure place.
You have to take out the whole spot of the stain and get it out. Rebuild the wall. Take it all out and clean it up. If it's impure, if it's not impure, then it's okay. If it's not true, you can like set up for another week, and so on and on. Then what's going on here? We have, like you said, we have tzoras on the houses, tzoras on the clothing, tzoras on the skin. Now tzoras is for bad behavior. If it's lashon hara, if it's other bad things, whatever God doesn't like a little bit, sends a little tzoras in the mail. What is going on? God's punishment are not for punishment, are for a way to correct the person's life. It's not a punishment. It's showing him the way, to remind him to go back to the right way. A person speaks lashon hara. God wants to send him a message. He starts with the houses, with the most outside far of the thing away from him. It's called in the Kabbalah language makif arachok. That's around you, but it's not attached to you. He sees tzoras on the house. Okay, he calls the Kohen. The Kohen gives him a good look in his eye, says, Bacher, you better fix your way. Obviously, I have I'm nothing against you, and I love you, and I never heard you speaking lashon hara, but obviously, if there is a tzoras, you better check your pekel. It's like, see what's going on. Make an inventory on your spirituality. Okay. He takes out everything. And that goes through this whole nightmare. By that time, he's already doing tshuva, believe me, just to clean up. He has to call a moving company and to take everything out from his house. It's not a joke. He leave it outside in the front lawn. Where is he going to put everything? For 7 days. He got the message. God bless him. The tzoras disappears. Everything is good. He doesn't get a message. He gets a big hole in his house. Fine. And he has to rebuild his house. He didn't get the message. It appears in his clothing. And his suit, and his tie, his shirt. He goes around, people tell him, I think it's tzoras, You better check it with the Kohen. You're already embarrassed to show up in the same suit in shul tomorrow. People tell you, it's tzoras. Jews like to point you out all the wrongdoings of somebody else. It's a Jewish sport or sickness. I know what to call it. Jews like to correct each other. They love it, no matter what type of religion, of denomination they are. They love to show somebody else that he knows less than them. It's one of the biggest enjoyment of Jews. You shouldn't you shouldn't hand over by the funerals, they call what it's called, the dirt, the
Shovel.
You shouldn't hand over the shovel. Every time somebody tells me at the funeral, this guy's handing over the shovel, it's not allowed. And I tell him, I think to myself, I can tell you a few things that you don't know. It's a Jewish sport. Let's put it in a nice way. Then that's under clothing. If he gets a message, if not, it burns the clothing. If he doesn't get the message, then it shows up on his skin.
Why is it reversed in the Torah?
It should not be.
They start with the skin.
The Torah tells you how bad it could get right away.
I don't know.
But in reality, it went from step to step, the Talmud says. Yes. Now, what reminds me, what does this mean? God, it's not a punishment. God is trying to bring the person back to his right place, to the right way, to the right path. There is a story like this about the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe, first Chabad Rebbe Shneur Zalman of Liadi, was arrested in Russia. It was other Jews informed them to the government, other religious Jews. There was a big fight, Hasidim and non-Hasidim. Finally, they came to arrest him. First of all, the first time when he came, he left. He ran away. And they came, they said, they told his wife, where is your husband? He says, he's not here. He told them, we'll come back, basically. He came home at night, and then one of his closest Hasidim came to visit him. He says, his name was Reb Shmuel Munkes. He told him, Shmuel, should I go with him? So the Rebbe is an holy man, he can make it work, you shouldn't have to go with them. He told them like this, if you're a Rebbe, what are you afraid of them? And if you're not a Rebbe, why you took away from all of us the enjoyment of the physical world? You tell us we have to control ourselves and we have to do this. And you took from us all the enjoyment of the material world and you're not even a Rebbe? What is this? And if you're a holy man, God will protect you. In any case, he decided to go. They arrested him Thursday night. And it was a big wagon, a black wagon for the worst enemies of the government. People who are trying to make a revolution against the Tsar. The Tsar was paranoid, he was afraid of revolutions. It was Friday noon, and the Alter Rebbe tells the driver, the officer who ran the whole thing, it was a whole entourage. They came to arrest such an important person. He tells them, please stop for Shabbos, I don't want to drive. He told them, you probably don't understand what you're doing here. You think you're the Rebbe, you are a prisoner, we are taking you, we are the bosses. Okay? One of the axles of the wagon broke. They sent to the closest town, took a few hours, they came to fix, in the olden days everything took forever. They drive a little further, one of the horses dies. They changed the nose, took also a few hours. It was a whole Friday, it was a whole thing. They drive a little further, the horses got into a fear, they didn't want to move. He turns to the Rebbe, says, Rebbe, can we at least go to the closest village? No. Can we get off the road? He says, yeah, you can go off the road. They arrested, they didn't drive on Shabbos. Was it a punishment? It wasn't a punishment. We try to leave you a message in your answering machine. You don't get it? Axle breaks down. Okay, I hope you got it. You don't get it? One of the horses died. You don't get it again? Something. Oh, good morning. If you would remember, if you wake up yourself at the first time, you wouldn't have to go all the way this long road. That's an example for Tzoras. That's the best example for Tzoras. God is trying to tell us how to correct ourselves. And that's the order it used to go. Now, what's interesting about this is only to learn that it's a punishment for a good purpose, so to speak. But if you believe that there is good in everything, there must be a good thing in the Tzoras. In the Tzoras itself must be something good. Especially in the Tzoras of the houses. I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about the houses. Let's go to back 117, and we'll read the classic question. Now, before we go there, it was another explanation from a Talmudic statement in Masechet Yuma. Why God gave a person Tzoras of the house, right? You had to take everything out of the house, right? The Talmud says like this, something amazing. I come to borrow from Mr. Bay. Maybe you have a video camera. You're my child. We have a party. I want to video him. Maybe I would really want to help you, but I don't have my camera. It's broken. Or I don't have. Or I lost it. But next day you come. Maybe you have to mow the lawn. You have a machine to clean the walls. No, I don't have. Shine. God says you're on the road, on the way of not giving anything to anyone. He says, you know what? We'll teach him a lesson, this boy. He sends you to the house of the house. You have to take everything out of the house, right?
But you can see.
Oh, look at the cameras that he has, this guy. Look what he has. He has the best and the nicest. He said he doesn't have anything. Can you imagine the embarrassment? And this guy put everything out. That the whole idea of the tzoras is to put everything out. You're trying to cover up. The same thing Lashon Hara. I didn't speak, now in the talkbacks and the comments on the internet, people write, they don't have to say who they are. But believe me, the government knows exactly who you are. They know from which computer it's coming. And it's covered up. You think it's covered up. And then the cold comes out. And that's what it is. But it's another reason for the punishment of tzarat, not necessarily for Lashon Hara, but just for somebody who doesn't want to be kind, who doesn't want to lend things to others, who doesn't want to help others. He wants to take from others what he needs, but he never wants to reciprocate. And in general, it's not about just reciprocating, it's about being kind. Then comes another reason for tzaras. Now comes a positive reason for tzaras. Till here we are negative, it's like correcting people. But could be it's a positive. You see, in God's punishment, the negative could turn into a positive the same moment. Where we see it? We see it now. Everybody saw the movie Noah.
No.
You didn't see it.
No.
Don't waste your money. I didn't see it either, but all the report, I heard it's a disaster, a big failure. In any case, in the real story of Noah, God told them He'll give them a flood, right? The first 7 days, it was raining. If they would repent, if they would do tshuva, the water would turn into rain water of blessing. That the same water, if you turn on the faucet a little stronger, it becomes flood. But it gives you time. The 7 days it was raining stronger, but you can still reverse it. Then in many cases, when a person is doing tshuva, it can reverse the situation. Not only the punishment will go away, you discover that's a blessing in disguise. That was the best thing that ever happened to you. Not in everything in life is like this, but in some things. For example, the tzoras of the house. Now we'll read the classic question. Why did God promise to bring tzoras?
It is good news for them that tzaras legions are to come upon them. Throughout the entire 40 years that the Jewish people were in the desert, the Amorites had hidden away treasures of gold inside the walls of their houses. And as a result of the tzaras legion, a person would demolish his house and find them. Oh, that was
Oh.
nice treasure.
You're sitting on a treasure and you don't even know. You're sitting on a treasure. The people who were before you hid everything in the walls and they disappeared. You come into a house, you conquer the city, you set yourself in the house, you're sitting on a treasure, and I mean, that was a story not long ago, I mean, that was a little different, of the guy who bought a desk, an office desk on Craigslist in Connecticut. He came home, he couldn't bring in the desk was too wide for the door, he had to undo it, to take it apart. He finds that behind the drawer was hidden a bag of $100,000 in $100 bills. 9 something it is.
Nice.
He was a religious boy, and he said, "This is not my money." He called this woman that he bought it from her. She was an elderly woman. That was her husband passed away. That was her whole treasure. And she forgot that she put it there. And she sold them for $200 the desk. And he gave her back the money. Many cases, people sit on such treasures, they don't even know who left it there. Let's say he would come to a house with furniture and it's a apartment building that people change. You have the money, you don't even know who it is. Sometimes there was an Israeli woman who claimed that she threw away a mattress and was full of dollars, and she forgot that the whole country was looking, nobody found it. I don't know if it was true, maybe it was never done, I don't know. Maybe somebody found it, took it home, who knows? Then sometimes a person is sitting in a house, is sitting in a treasure, doesn't know that God sends tzaras. Now it could be sent tzaras just to make him remove the house, but even if he sent tzaras to him because he spoke Lashon Hara, the guy did tshuva that actually from the bad thing came out something very good. And it came out from this that he found the treasure. That's what the Rashi brings. And the Medrash elaborates on that. Let's read what the Medrash says. Why was it good news?
Why was it good news?
But
that-
you realize that the Medrash doesn't say it, I'm sorry, I just have to finish mine. The Medrash doesn't say it about tzoras of skin. Because about personal suffering, we don't say, oh, there is a good thing about it. But about money suffering, that's what he say it. Money loss, houses, clothing, that's the thing that we say, oh, you have to do tshuva, you have to do this. When it comes to life, that's above us. That we don't understand why God is doing it. God is his own long calculation and long history, and it's much bigger than us. Even in the Talmud that's written, then the discussion is when somebody loses money, there is a Talmudic story that they tell them, oh, you have to do tshuva, it's a message from God. When it's coming to life issues, then there was never this discussion there. Even in the story of Job, the friends of Job tells them, you have to do tshuva. And he says, no, I'm okay. And God agrees with Job. That God tells Job, basically he says, that you understand creation, that you understand what's behind everything, that you know how this, and goes a whole, in a very poetic way, that you understand how this works and how this works. I don't remember all the expressions, because I don't learn Job too much. But the idea is, when it comes to life, it's a whole different story, and it's important to notice. Now we'll read the message. I'm sorry, go back.
Why was it good news that Sarah's legends were so come upon them? Rabbi Shimon for Yoha taught, when the Canaanites heard that the Jewish people were approaching, they went about hiding their valuables in their houses in fields. What did God do? He plugged the Jewish person's house with Sarah's, and when he demolished it, he would find treasure in it. Does that mean to say that somebody came and told the Canaanites that the Jewish people were entering the land? Rabbi Ishmael ben Nachman said, yes, Yeshua sent them 3 letters saying, whoever wishes to live, let him live. Whoever wishes to make peace, let him make peace. Whoever wishes to wage war, let him wage war.
It means to say that the Jewish people, the Canaanites, before Joshua came to conquer the land, he gave them the option to leave. Doesn't want to kill them, he doesn't want to hurt them. Anybody wants to leave, everyone wants to make peace and accept the 7 Noahide laws, can even stay in Israel. He didn't even have to leave. And whoever wants to war, then can go to war. That the people who didn't want to leave or people who run away, they knew in advance. Therefore, they were putting it in the walls, and they saved it. Then when the Jewish people came, in many cases they had plenty of houses. Now there is another explanation from another rabbi, the Ralbag. He lived, I think, in Spain. He says something very interesting. You know, from time to time we have earthquakes. Nebach. Earthquake is a terrible thing. I mean, there were earthquakes in Israel, in Tzfat, were a few times big earthquakes. Even now there is from time to time, lately there were a few mild earthquakes in Israel. And the Israeli buildings are really not up to code when it comes to these things, especially the elderly buildings. And there are many, many buildings, God forbid, I mean, it will never happen, but Israel, every 500 years or so, there was an earthquake. If you, even and you go to Caesarea, you see how buildings are laying on top of each other. You see the walls are, that was not built like this. That's a house that collapsed. And you can see how it's like, and now they're building on top of it a store, a restaurant, and they're making it nice. But the way the building is, that was not, you don't build a building like this. It was one on top of the other. Then the Ralbag says, the Jewish people came to houses, and they were sitting in a very weak home, that the home can collapse. And God wants to save the Jew from that their home should collapse on them. What is he doing? He's sending Tzoras on the house. And by this he calls the Kohen, and the Kohen tells him, yes, Tzoras, and he moves everything out, and he destroys the house because this wall or this house is not safe enough. Then what looks toward this guy, oy vey, I lost my house. It was 5 minutes before an earthquake, and God saved his life. Because if he would stay in the house, he would be, God forbid, who knows what that.
Did the Canaanites think by putting their treasures in the walls
That they will
that
come
they
back.
would be coming back?
Yeah, they thought, oh, the Jewish people are here for a short time. We will conquer back. We will make it. Look, in 1948 also,
I was just going to say the right of return.
the
Maybe
Arab
they got stuff in
countries
their
thought,
walls, too.
you know, most of the Arabs left Israel in 1948, not because the Jews chased them out, because the Arab countries told them, you move out of the way, we will come with armies, we'll conquer the land, and then you'll come back and you'll get the Jewish home too. That was the motivation. That's why so many homes were available, were empty in so many houses. All these 90% of the refugees left on their own before the Jews came. And because they were sure they will come back. Never, the plan didn't work out. And they end up to be refugees until today, some of them. But it's all because the same thing happened in the time of the Bible. The people who left or ran away or fought, they were sure they'll come back. You know, I mean, on the other hand, even Jews during the Holocaust, not long ago they found in Czechoslovakia a burial, a treasure of candlesticks and crowns of Torahs, all silver Kiddush cups and all these things, that somebody was a businessman, and he buried it with the hope that he will come back to take it. And maybe even he survived, but he moved on to America. He didn't think about going back to Czechoslovakia to look for his silver. And just I think 5-6 years ago, they found a huge treasure. I think it was Czechoslovakia. They were building a building, and they digged out, and they found it. Then it happened to the Jewish people too. I mean, never. I mean, when you run away from your home, you believe, you hope that you'll come back, right? That it goes both ways. Then that's the two positive reasons for tzoras. For tzoras of the houses. You realize we are not looking for positive reasons for when somebody dies, God forbid, or somebody has tzoras on his skin. We're looking for the house. Because when it's something about money, we say that could be a good reason there. And we find or because God wants to save him from an earthquake, or God wants to find a treasure. But it's also a lot about perspective, how we look at things. Two people can look at the same thing. I mean, one will see the positive side in it, one person will see the negative side in it. That's the tzoras of the house. That's the last piece of tzoras that we have in this parsha.
I'm just going to make a comment. You tell me.
Yes.
You know, you read the first one is Tazria, the first parsha that it's
Tazria,
yeah.
And
then this one
in Metzora.
and there's just so much, especially on the skin, about the blotches and the hairs, and it goes on, and I mean, I'm sure that means something, but it's hard to read or understand or keep it in your mind. I mean, is there something more to it than what you just told us?
For not to speak Lashon Hara, it's all about it. I mean, it all comes from arrogant. It's written that the way to atone for the tzoras is to take the ingredients are to remind us of not being arrogant. It all comes from selfishness and arrogance, that you think that you are more important than the others, and for bringing what is Lashon Hara? Separating between husband and wife, between friends, right? Then the Torah will go to great length, because the idea of unity is the foundation of our nation. Every time something goes wrong, it's usually because it was a fight. How did Jewish people end up in Egypt? What was the cause for ending up in Egypt?
Yosef.
A fight in the family. Simple. The brothers were fighting. We paid a big bill for this. 210 years slavery. All the Tzoras got to come and make miracles to save us. We messed it up. What happened? What caused the destruction of the first temple?
The zealots fighting with each
It
other.
wasn't.
That's the second time.
That's the second.
Causes.
It was
What
idol-
caused the
idol.
first temple?
I don't know, sure.
No.
No.
I know, that's what's written. But what really
Okay.
could?
It's a,
Where was the beginning of the end of the first temple?
It's, first temple was Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, where was the beginning of the end?
Oh, how many years was it there? 300 and Some years.
The temple was standing for 410 years. When was the beginning of the end? The beginning of the demise of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. That led
Separation
eventually.
between Judea and Israel.
Yeah.
Very good.
Rehoboam.
Right after, so Solomon just built a temple 5 minutes ago. His son already separated 2 kingdoms. That was the beginning of the end. There was 2 kingdoms. That means you're not united. That means the enemy's Assyrian king came and conquered piece by piece, piece by piece. And these guys worshipped idols. They didn't want him to go to the temple of Jerusalem. They closed the ways. They made him worship idols. That the beginning of the end was the separation. Was the war between the 2 groups. And then is the second temple. What was the second temple? It was a fight between the 2 the 2 brothers of the Maccabees, Aristobulus and this, and the guy, one was in Jerusalem, one was out of Jerusalem, and they were killing each other. And the guy who was outside of Jerusalem invited the Romans to join him to help him to fight against the other one. And that's how the Romans didn't dare to come to take control over Israel, but the Jews invited them. Again, it was a fight, and the fight brought to the destruction. Wherever you put a finger, wherever there is a destruction of the Jewish people, it all comes because there is a fight within the Jews. Look, the rest of the world doesn't pressure us to give up on the wall, the Western wall. Nobody even demands such a thing. You know why? Because all the Jews are united that this belongs to Israel, to the Jews. Anything goes where there is a big part of the Jewish people say, oh, let's make concessions, let's give them this, let's give them this, let's give them this. Ever there's concessions, there is a few Jews who let it in, then then the enemies jump in. Wherever there is unity, nobody can stop. There is an amazing story. There is a story happened, I think, 700 years ago in Paris. They burned the Talmud. The government collected 20 or 24 crates, big crates of Talmud, trucks of Talmud, of Talmudic books from all the yeshivas. They burned in public all the books on a Friday. It was, I think, in June or something like this. When you go in Paris, you see, I think it's even written there, that this is the place where they burned the Talmud. It was so bad that all the yeshivas had moved out of France because there was no books. You cannot learn without books. It was a terrible thing. What caused it? You'll not believe it. Right after Maimonides passed away, it started a big movement within the Jewish people against Maimonides. That he doesn't believe in life after death, he doesn't believe in this. He found stories. Maimonides, that today is the most accepted authority in the Jewish people, was, I think 100 years after he died. There was a huge war against him. That these people were fighting the books of Maimonides, and the people learned this, encouraged the church to go into Jewish homes and to look where there is Maimonides' book, and to collect them and to burn it. The Jewish people used the authorities to force the Jews to give up on the book of Maimonides. Lo and behold, they saw they can do it, right? The second step was that the Jewish people did it themselves. That the government did it for all the Jewish books. For them, there is no difference between Maimonides, not Maimonides, this. People don't realize that, these Jews are doing it. We are the nice guys. In the eyes of the world, you are all the same. If you allow them to attack these people, eventually they come to attack you. That every time in Jewish history, whenever there was a destruction, it was because there was a lack of unity. That's why the laws of Tazria and Metzora are so relevant and so important to understand that whenever there is a lack of unity, there is all the tzoros come. That's why tzores and tzoras is the same word. Mm-hmm. If you don't want tzores, you don't have tzoras, you don't speak Lashon Hara. Or any type of fighting and infighting and talking about others and so on.
And nowadays we have a source?
No. Tzoras was a biblical punishment in the time of the Bible.
But now.
Today we do not have this type of Leprosy we do not have today.
Do you
No.
know a Jew last name Soros?
Oh, that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's the story with
No,
Sam
no,
Soros.
no.
Oh yeah, he's bad.
That's a different story.
He's bad.
He's actually, his name is Soros. There was a very righteous man with the
Yeah.
name Reb Soros, not Soros, Sora,
Mhm.
from the name Sarah, Sarah. And he was, I think, the grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, or and he was, and this Soros is a descendant of him.
Mhm.
To my George.
Talk about George
Yeah,
Soros?
yeah. And he's
George Soros, the
Oh,
billionaire
yes,
guy.
yes, yes.
George
Relative of
Soros
the-
is
Haven't
descended
heard about
from
that.
Baal
Baal
Shem
I
Tov.
think from the Baal Shem Tov.
Yeah.
Reb
Did you
Soros,
imagine how
yeah.
much
Really?
destruction he
Yes,
does?
yes.
How much what?
He might
It's
so
like
destruction.
Karl Marx.
Soros does?
Grandfather
Soros
was
does?
He's
a
bad, yeah.
Orthodox
I haven't heard him in
rabbi.
years, but I heard him a lot
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
He's still around then, huh?
Oh, he's horrible.
That's the point is, I'll tell you something. Now,
Okay.
Unity now. Unity, people.
in life, God rewards for every good that we do. Now, sometimes you get it. Sometimes your grandchild get it. Sometimes your great grandchild gets it. That maybe George Soros is being rewarded for a Blake Soros. Why is he rewarded? That's God's calculations. We don't know. Or there is, it's much bigger. That's what I'm saying. The picture is so bigger that when we're trying to understand why this guy is bad, this guy is good, we cannot even pass this judgment. You know, it's written about God. We have to learn, we have to go in God's ways, right? Then what is written in the Medrash? God is merciful, you be merciful. God is kind, you be kind. God dressed the naked like he dressed Adam and Eve, you dress the naked. God was fed hungry, God gave us manna, so you'd be. It's not written in the Medrash. God is judging, you judge. God is punishing, you punish. It's not written in the Medrash. It means to say, we shouldn't try to be like God on these things, because we don't understand and we don't know. We have to do what we know, and the rest we should leave to God. And that's an important thing to remember. And that's why if a person has, you need to understand there is a Talmudic statement, Rebbe Mechabed Ashirim. Rebbe, the author of the Mishnah, his name was Rabbi Yehuda the Prince. He was a very rich man himself. And he used to honor rich people. He had a big yeshiva. He wrote down the Mishnah. He wrote down the beginning of the Talmud was written down by him. He made a revolution in Jewish history. Because until then, the oral tradition was never written, and he started to write it down. And Rebbe was, he honored rich people. But the question is, why should he honor rich? First of all, he was rich himself, what he needs the rich people? And besides, he should honor the scholars. Why should he honor the rich? It's insulting, oh, only the rich, what did the poor, what did the scholars, what did this? The Rebbe spoke a few times about it. The Rebbe said something very interesting. God created the world of rich and poor, purposely. Why? Because God wants a world of give and take. God doesn't want a world of only everybody should live for himself. God wants kindness. The give and take should move on. And therefore he created rich and poor, purposely. Communism didn't work. They tried to make everybody equal, they made everybody poor, right? It didn't work. It collapsed in every country, it will collapse forever. Because it's against the will of God. That was not God's agenda. Now God trusts some people to give them money because he trusted them that they will know what to do with the money. Now, they have free choice. But God trusted them. God didn't trust me. Obviously. There's something good about them better than me. Right? He trusted them, right? Then instead of serving and saying, oh, the rich go, we say the rich go to heaven. Now, he didn't honor people who give charity. That's everybody honors. He honored rich people even if they don't give. Because if God trusted them with money, obviously there is something special about them. I don't know if I would pass the test. God gave them because they have the potential. Sometimes they pass the test to give it out. Sometimes they don't. Look, the richest people in the world give so much. Bill Gates and this, there is institutions and funds and this, and I'm sure that George Soros gives also a lot of charity. What I mean to say is there is a story about the fourth Chabad Rebbe, the Rebbe Marash, it was a pogrom in Russia, a few pogroms. And the pogroms in the Shtetlach, the people after the pogroms were left with nothing, because usually in pogrom, besides killing a few people, they destroyed everything and they robbed and they took everything from... The Jews were literally without a roof on their head. The Rebbe Marash went to St. Petersburg and made a meeting of all the rich people. And he asked them to give money to be able to save the people on the streets. They're starving there. They're in freezing. And they were hesitating to be generous. They told them when it comes to go to the government, you don't ask our opinion. You go yourself and you talk to the... Now you need our help. Now we're here. The Rebbe told them like this. He told them there is a prayer in the book of Psalms. There is a prayer that starts with the word Tfilah le'ani, the prayer for the poor man. There is the Tfilah le'Moshe, a prayer for Moses. There is Tfilah le'David, a prayer for David. There is Tfilah le'ani, prayer for the poor man. The Rebbe tells them, what is the poor man praying? He tells them, I'll tell you what he's praying. He tells them, God created rich and poor, right? Because he wants kindness. He wants giving and taking. You know what the poor man prays? He says, God, I know you need rich and poor, but why me? Give me the money. I'll do much better with it. I'll be the rich and give the poor. Then the Rebbe continued and told them, guys, God, from time to time, is checking the inventory to see, maybe the poor man is right. Let's check if the poor that are entrusted with the money, my treasurers, if they do with the money what they're supposed to do or not. If not, maybe I'll give it to somebody else. And that now it's your choice if you want to be on this side of the coin or on the other side. Everybody gave very generously after that.
Write a check.
Giving and taking is a blessing that God created. Many times people complain, oh, my child from college, he only calls when he needs money. Know what I tell them? Thank God that you give money, you have money to give him. If not, he would never call you. Mm-hmm. Why should a 20-year-old boy call a 50-year-old man or 60-year-old man? Whatever them. Thank God, it's a give and take. It's all our life is like this. All our life that's all about relationships. One of the biggest problems in Israel is that the rabbis are being paid by the government. You go to a government agency, they are not in a rush to serve you. Why? Because they will not make more money if they serve you. You don't pay them. They're not taking less. They don't care. Mm-hmm. If they would get money from you, would be a give and take, would be a relationship. There is no give and take. Mm-hmm. That's the problem with every government agency in the world. Because it's the same thing as with the medical world, and whatever it is. The moment I do not, from serving you, I'm only giving, I'm not getting anything from you, so to speak, then why should I give an effort? In Israel, the rabbis are not appointed by the communities. They get money they get a salary from the government. What they care? You come to my class, good. If not, have a nice day. Life is a give and take. That's how God created the world. Chesed ve'emes, that's what it's written in the book of Psalms, Chesed v'man yitzuru. God created the world of givers and takers. And that's what it's all about.